Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's weekly musings is Confusing Personality for Consciousness. I'm doing a series of weekly musings, and I'm using posts from my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. Now, my information is evergreen, but my posts are from a long time ago. So if I encounter anything that is out of date, I will give you the most recent information. And at the end, I will summarize the topic based on everything that's going on in the world today. Also, I have some special offers, so stay tuned to the very end to see what they are. Confusing Personality for Consciousness. I'm going to give you a trigger warning here. I don't read these before I start recording. And I notice that this does reference some people who made themselves unalive. So just letting you know. And I used to have a radio show. So I'm referencing a radio show that I used to have that ended in, I think, 2019. This week on our radio show, my co-host and I discussed a topic sent in by a listener. She wondered how much of life was consciously creative and how much was that shit happens. Two people she knew had died recently. One had unalived themselves and the other accidentally overdosed. The person who unalived themselves had been an energy worker and was discouraged that her techniques seemed to no longer be working. She said her higher self had planned for her to leave early. The overdose may have been accidental, but an aunt had foreseen when she was a child that there was a dark cloud in her future. I've long said that nothing is predetermined and nothing is set in stone. We create our future through our choices and our actions. We have the free will to change lanes on the freeway of life. If that's so, how could an ant see a dark cloud 10 or 20 years into a child's future? It's like a long-term weather forecast. Meteorologists can see a weather pattern happening in Guam and know that there'll probably be snow in Oregon 6 weeks later. When looking at futures, you're looking at possibilities. You may be seeing some influence by family patterns, just as a meteorologist knows weather currents and storm seasons. And within that, an individual can make shifts, go into recovery, turn from bad to good, simply by changing their beliefs about themselves. However, there's still weather. It still may rain or snow. And within that weather, there are choices on how to respond. Now, an energy worker can fall into the belief that they can and must control their reality. That if something is happening that they don't like, there's something wrong. That thought alone, that something is wrong, is personality based. Consciousness is neutral, amused, and non-judgmental. Nothing is ever wrong. All is very, very well. That bodies get sick, that bodies age. It's fascinating to consciousness, which is eternal and ever joyous. If you're viewing something with black and white, life and death thinking, it's your personality lens that you're looking through. Jerry Hicks, the husband of Esther who channels Abraham Hicks, developed cancer and died. Why did he do that if they're so enlightened that they'll live forever? Well, yes, he is living forever, but it was time to trade in the old body. The energy worker who unalived themselves, that was another way to go. But she could have also stuck around to see what else would unfold. Old techniques stop working when you're transforming into a new state and opening to new possibilities. I'm just going to stop myself there because I am seeing a little judgment, and I've felt a little judgment that an energy worker would do that. But the thing I do know, when anyone crosses to the other side, they're enveloped in love. I no longer believe that they have dropped out of a grade in school, and in order to continue, they have to go back and repeat that grade. That's an old thing that I learned in my original mystery school training that I now see is still through the lens of personality and from past to future. And my experience now is that all lifetimes are happening at once. Time is kind of like lasagna. The past is vibrating more slowly and more densely, but to the perspective of consciousness, it's all happening at once, and it is all happening in the blink of an eye, no time or space. So if someone has unalived themselves, it's not this Catholic thing where they've threatened their immortal soul. That just doesn't happen. And I do get concerned when I talk about that we all return to infinite love, which is where we came from, and it actually is who the essence of who we are, that people will unalive themselves because they're dealing with really heavy duty stuff. But the thing I have also come to experience is that we can experience that infinite love here and now in this realm of density and effort. And so it's not a matter of unaliving, it's a matter of shifting our awareness and our perception and identifying ourselves as greater consciousness. And when we do that, it completely transforms our reality. I'm not finished reading my blog, so what else did I say here? I used to say that we signed up for life lessons before we were born. The more capable we are, the harder lessons we'd take on. We'd sign up for 8 honors classes, 2 after-school clubs, varsity sports, sports, and a weekend job. And when we incarnate, we discover that it's college and not high school. Or I'd use the example of actors in movies. The more talented actor takes on the more dramatic and painful roles, where they have to gain 40 pounds and get beaten up by a bear. Now I realize that it's not so linear. We are simultaneously consciousness and personality form. Embodiment, incarnation is constantly happening. We're bringing in awareness and releasing unconscious patterns. We inhale a new experience with each breath. Higher self is not separate from us unless you're viewing it through your personality's eyes. You are essence coming into form. When you shift to that awareness, you make different choices. You relax into whatever is happening. And if storm clouds are brewing, you put on your yellow sticker and rubber boots and jump up and down with excitement, waiting for it to come. So if you've had any experiences or awarenesses like this, please leave me a comment below because I love to read your comments. And I already did kind of interrupt myself in reading this to give you an updated awareness. And I'd have to say that the only thing to add is that we do seem to be going into dark times, but as consciousness, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And the other thing I'd add is that not to react dramatically, even if it seems dramatic, because if it's hysterical, it's historical. And the more dramatic it seems, the less reality-based it is. So when you can connect to your inner self, the greater aspect of yourself as consciousness, Eckhart Tolle calls it presence, I call it consciousness. When you identify yourself as consciousness, you can feel that inner calm regardless of what's going on externally. Because all the drama that's going on in the news is going to be a new drama by the next news cycle. And when you can operate from that inner presence, what can end up resulting is beyond your wildest imaginations. So if you like these videos, please share them with your family and friends and on your social media. And please click the like button or the heart button and follow or subscribe. And that way you're telling the algorithm to share this far and wide and get this out to someone who really needs to see this information. And if you'd like a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the skybox technique. It'll give you a drone's eye perspective of the world and insight as consciousness to what's really going on. And if you'd like some manifestation techniques, click on the link below to my self-study course, Manifesting Money and Miracles. It'll give you simple but profound energy techniques to completely transform your reality. And if you'd like to have a session with me where I take a look at the essence of who you are and what's going on in your life today, and I can answer any questions you might have, click on the link below to book a session. And if you'd like to learn how to do this for yourself, that is, navigate your life as consciousness with the help of some of my consciousness techniques, Manifesting Money and Miracles is a great preparation for my coaching special where I work with you one-on-one and give you specifically chosen consciousness techniques so that you can transform your life. And you can find out more at my website, joan-newcomb.com. And I'll see you next week in another Weekly Musings.